Yo! Okay, here we are again. I'm on a mini road trip. I'm heading back to Colby out in northwest Kansas. I've got to take care of a few things around the old house. We do have a signed, approved, qualified offer on the house. But by the time the appraisal goes through and all the paperwork, I've got to mow the lawn. Ha! So I've got that and some other errands to do today. But we're going to talk about pricing. I've been putting off videos like this, topic videos, mainly because I've been busy and I sit down and try to scratch out some notes, and then I got to fight some fires, and then I got to take care of some things, and then, you know, before you know it, it's late. And so we're going to talk about pricing today on The Crazy Picker Life with Wheeler, Dealer, and Banana Peeler. Welcome, fellow pickers and would-be adventurers. Dealer again on the road here, Crazy Picker Life. Topic edition, we're going to talk about pricing today. Got to keep my eye on traffic here. It's a holiday weekend coming up in the United States. We've got 4th of July is tomorrow. Today is Wednesday the 3rd, I believe. And there's a lot of traffic heading west, more than usual. Usually this is a pretty quiet drive. You've got some long haul semi-trucks. You've got people going from Kansas City to Denver and Denver to Kansas City. But we just got a California going past. We got some other states going past. We got more traffic than usual. I don't have my tripod turned like usual here either. I don't know what the heck I did. I'm gonna have to figure that out if I pause this thing. But we'll work with it. So, 4th of July, right? Tomorrow's the 4th of July. Yesterday, our town has fairly strict tolerances on fireworks. They couldn't start selling them until yesterday, the 2nd of July, and I believe tomorrow, the 4th of July, I think you have till midnight, or maybe Friday the 5th. I think it's midnight on the 4th, and then that's it. No more fireworks. But I'll tell you what, if the first day is any indicator, people have saved it up, and it was going great gonzo until 11 p.m. last night with the curfew, or whatever you want to call it, the quiet hour. So, as usual, my family is getting some fireworks. I have mixed feelings about fireworks. I'm going to talk about that briefly here. Now, some of you are like, you don't like fireworks, Dealer? Fireworks are great. We're celebrating. Well, so listen, back in 1776 and the years preceding 1776 and the years after 1776, the United States was in a time of change, okay? You can study history, and I know some of you know more history than I do, and many of you knew some history and sort of forgot it, or some of you are in the current brainwashing trend. Now wait a minute, are you a conspiracy theorist, Dealer? No, I'm not. I like to deal in factual information, but some of the things that I might say now might be controversial, especially in today's climate. So 1776, right? A lane thing happening here. Apparently I'm supposed to be over here. Whatever. I can choose a lane. 1776, United States was trying to become a nation, and there was a lot of political and taxation and jockeying and all kinds of stuff going on. And some people wanted this to be a nation. They put their lives on the line. They put their signatures on the line. Declaration of Independence signed on the 4th of July. At least that's what the history books say. I'm not so sure of every detail. Things move slower then, some things. And so we became a nation, some kind of different nation, a nation with laws and freedoms, and we have rights, and we have all kinds of benefits living here in the United States. Well, you know, it doesn't take too long for politicians to screw things up. I guess it took 200 plus years to really start to see the signs, but the fabric of the United States is coming apart. And without going into detail, we have a similar situation to 1776 happening, where there are forces in the world that would like the United States to not exist as the United States of old, as the one that was designed by the signers of the Declaration of Independence. And so when you're blowing off your fireworks this year, if you're in the United States, if you're blowing off your cheap Chinese fireworks, and believe me, I have them in my house, and the Chinese people aren't all bad, but the people who run the Chinese government are hooked into the globalists. Oh my gosh, there we go. They ain't the only ones, right? So I don't have anything against people or Chinese people. I have a problem with globalist casseroles, though. And casseroles is a code word for something else, right? Demonetization may happen here. Think I care? I don't mind. I don't mind skipping the $1.50 I might make from this video. I'll resume here. Okay, so let's get on with the topic here shortly. Holy macaroni! 140,000 miles on the van. Sings like a champion. The champions sing. So anyway, when you're blowing off your cheap Chinese fireworks, do remember the true meaning and the celebration and the holiday, United States of America, right? If you're not doing enough to help retain the freedoms and the nation that we have, if you know what I'm talking about, make sure you do a little extra this year. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you want a global government, if you think that CNN is great and fake news is great, I can't help you other than I ain't changing. Okay, let's talk about pricing, right? Many of you right now are like, woo, dealer, keep going. Preach it, brother. And some of you are like, oh my goodness, dealer, you're off the deep end. You're one of those guys. Yeah, I'm one of those guys, right? I'm one of those guys that cares about our country, cares about family, cares about small business, cares about God, and want to have freedom of all those things. God, country, family, religion, small business. So let's talk about pricing. We buy items, and we buy them from lots of different areas. I could go down a list, right? We typically buy used items or what I'd call new old stock. I don't do a lot of retail arbitrage. I don't buy a lot of seconds of the same items. I don't buy a lot of mystery lots. I don't buy out a lot of companies overstock. I don't buy a lot of new stuff. I buy typically used stuff, and I aim for unique or vintage or quality, and I buy a lot of other stuff too, just because once you're buying, it's easy to buy it all. So, pricing. If I had unlimited money, like most of you do, if I had unlimited money, I'd buy it all. I'd buy everything. I'd just buy up a market and I'd corner the market, right? I'd have a monopoly on vintage. But because cash flow is always an issue, money can be inexpensive if you're buying and selling with cash. It can be moderately expensive if you're borrowing with all the gimmicky borrowing out there where you can get 0% loans, which typically still cost you some money. Or if you get low cost, let's say government assistance loans, small business administration, short-term inventory loans, friends and family, they can be moderately expensive. Or there's all kinds of high and super high rate stuff out there. If you want money, it's available typically. You just have to do a good job out there. You have to build a reputation. You have to build a credit score of one kind or another. Money's available. But when you buy things, whether you're buying them with cash or all the way up to high-end borrowed expensive money, that doesn't necessarily influence. Whoa, where did I go? That's why this tripod is screwed up. I'm back. It doesn't necessarily influence the selling price. Things sell for what they're going to sell for. Now, on the other end of that, if you're doing eBay, there's several ways to price things, whether you're doing auctions, or you're doing buy it now, or you're doing buy it now with make offer, or whether you're doing classified ads, or I don't know what those things are exactly called, where you promote them, promoted ads. They've got a number of different things. Good till canceled is now the big deal. So somebody said, and I think they said it way more elegantly than I did, but you can chase the quick dime or the slow quarter. I'll try to fix my tripod. There, that feels better. The mounting screw on my tripod was loose, and it wasn't the adjustment. I kept cranking on that. It was the actual tripod screw, and then no matter how tight you try to make it, it don't matter. It still spins. So I got it fixed. So some people say that you can get a quick nickel and a slow quarter, a quick dime, a slow quarter. However they say it, I think if you put something at auction and start it at 99 cents, and you either have free shipping or you have reasonable shipping, auction will typically give you a sale, and it'll be quick money, whether you're running 1 or 3 or 5 or 7 or 10-day auctions. You'll get quick money. I do think there's a percentage of buyers on auctions that either back out or are not happy with their items. They're looking for a bargain. I think they typically, and it doesn't even actually have to be typically, I think it's just a larger percentage, are a little bit towards the lower end of customers. And by lower end, I mean they don't perform like you would like a reputable customer to perform. Now, it might only be 20%. I don't even buy things at auction because I don't like to wait, typically. Whether it's a physical auction or an online auction. I like buy it now, keep moving. I like to keep moving. You can find some great deals at auction, but I think people that buy things from me, buy it now, are more like me, and they know what they're after and they're willing to pay for it, and they got money. They typically pay for it right away. Now, a lot of things do sell well at auction, and you can make pretty close to what you would make on a buy it now situation at auction. So I'm not 100% against auctions. I'm not 100% against buying at auctions. Typically, you're going to get less money for an item at auction than you will if you craft a well-researched buy it now or best offer situation. And that's typically when I price items, I try to figure out whether somebody listed that item at auction or at a buy it now with best offer, or just a buy it now, because that gives me some indicator on how to price it. Fast nickel, fast dime, slow quarter. All right. So some people need to move stuff quickly through their business, right? You got $1,000 in your business, you buy merchandise, you got to turn it over before you go spend more money. You're skimming money off the top of your profits to pay your bills, and typically your business is staying the same size. You got the same $1,000. Maybe you got less, maybe you got more, maybe it fluctuates, but typically this type of business, whether it's $100, $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, you're kind of stuck in a cycle of buying things and being out of money and got to turn things over, and then you buy more things. So you need the fast nickel, you need the fast dime. You don't like things sitting around. Maybe you got a limited space for inventory and you don't like to go into hoarded, endless shelves of inventory mode. There's all kinds of reasons. Some of them are legitimate. Some of them are not that great. It also depends. It depends on what type of items you're buying. Because basically, if you're buying all $20 items, and by $20 items, I can mean a lot of different things, but you're buying all $20 items, and you can only list so many $20 items, and so, you know, if you run out of money, if you run out of space, you can only list so many items, you only got so much time, why wouldn't you turn it over quick, right? Well, I don't know, there's some reasons not to turn things over quick. One is, on many items, especially many of the items that I sell, if I wait a week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months for the right buyer to come along, I make more money. I make a better rate of return on my investment. I don't have a problem. I mean, I do have a problem. Everybody has a problem with cash flow of one kind or another. I mean, if I had unlimited money, I'd buy more stuff. But in the reasonable scope of things, I don't have a problem with coming up with hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, $10,000, whatever I need to come up with to buy whatever I need to buy. So if I run into a $500 item and it's a good item or a good lot of items, I typically will buy it, and I don't have a problem coming up with that money. Now, that doesn't mean I necessarily buy it foolishly. If I come across a $2,000 item, I typically buy it, or a set of items. $10,000, well, I will buy those items too, if the items are right. I'm not going to buy a $10,000 10,000-pound dud, right? So buying things for me is not a problem. But if you find yourself having cash flow issues, in other words, your buying of good items, at the end of the day, you run out of money and you can't go buy more, and you're able to list everything you're buying, and so you're sitting there full time or whatever with free time, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for stuff to sell. You got a couple of things you can do, but selling things faster might be one of them. I probably would tighten my belt and trim my expenses and find a way to get more money to buy more things, and then when I sell those things, I would try to use a good percentage of that inventory to grow my business and grow my inventory big enough so that I have the amount of money to spend where I can untighten my belt and have a few things that I like. But if you're on the starting end of this, if you're, rubbing two nickels together and that's a lot of money, or even if you're just trying to grow your business, it can be tough. Cash flow can be tough. There's no doubt about it. I still have cash flow problems, even though I buy like there's no tomorrow sometimes, right? I don't have a problem with throughput. I just have a problem wanting to expand my business bigger than my systems allow. That's the positive way to say it, right? Okay, pricing. So I get probably 3 or 4 items through my business that I would say I'm an expert at pricing. So I'm going to talk about those things a little bit. Wheeler is an expert at pricing. Now, his pricing criteria don't always line up with mine. However, I would say we have similar pricing strategies. Kate is new to pricing, and she tends to overanalyze it right now, and I think that's okay. And I'm teaching her everything I know, but getting good at pricing takes practice. And it also is a little bit different when you buy the items and you have some emotion in them. Maybe you paid too much. Maybe you like the items. Maybe you see the end user and you see like the golden ticket. Or maybe you see something that you don't like that actually has value, but you just, for whatever reason, want to get it out of your office. If you have people that work for you, they may not have an emotional attachment to that item like you do, or they may have a different emotional attachment to that item, or they might just miss it, right? Everybody can miss it. That's why we buy stuff low and sell it high for the most part, because people miss it. They miss that there's value. They don't realize they have a $100 item. They think they have a $10 item. And of course they typically have a different sales channel, so that's part of it. But they're also not equipped to sell online, or they don't care. So good for us. All right, so what kind of items do I get through my business, right? Well, the favorite item that I get through my business is probably the solid value dollar item, the middle value or high value item, I don't mind paying up for it, and then I can flip it for double or triple or quadruple or 5 times or 10 times value quickly. That's probably my favorite. I'll give you an example. We just bought these mailbox, P.O. box door covers. They had glass on them. They had combination locks. They're probably from the 50s or the 60s. Ding, ding, ching, ching. It's my phone going off. And they come in different sizes. You go into your post office, you pay for a mailbox, and you go there and you put your key in, your combination in, your mail's in there, P.O. box. So when the post office is upgraded to the metal boxes, if you have those in your area, they got rid of the old ones. And so I got a lot of 21 old ones, a couple large ones, a couple medium ones, some small ones. I looked them up. I made a decision that this was a product that had lots of buyers, lots of sellers. It was a good niche market. I bought them for $100. I paid up a little bit. That's a pretty good purchase, $100 cash. At a rummage sale, goodness grief. Goodness gracious, good grief. A rummage sale, yeah. A former locksmith, apparently, or her husband was. And so I paid $100. I looked it up. I could have split them in lots. I could have sold them individually. Everybody says, oh my gosh, you could have got more for them. I listed them for $299 plus accurate shipping, $299.99. Bam, they sold in 24 hours. Could I have got more? Yes. Do I care? Well, sure, who doesn't want more? But heavy item, I flip my capital quick, out the door, the person is happy. I don't have to carry it downstairs to my inventory. I've got all kinds of reasons why I don't really need to hang on to that for months. Could I have got $400? Maybe. Maybe not. So I determined that this was a market. I looked it up. There were 60, 70 sellers on the vintage end. There were 60, 70 buyers. People were selling in lots. People were selling individually. People like these things. And I priced them where they were at. Some of them had damage. Some of them, you know, whatever. So, am I happy? Absolutely. Listed, sold, after expenses, I'm making 150 bucks. 150 bucks, relatively easy ship. $150 cash. Well, not cash. $150 PayPal money on top of my investment. Profit. That's good. That's how I like to price things like that. That's one type of item that comes through my office. One that's got daily listings, daily sales. Now, if there's 5 items like that listed and 5 sales, I am going to price it up a little bit more. If there's 500 of them listed and 500 sales, I might even get in the flow a little bit more. I might get even a little bit more competitive. I might try to beat the price. When I price this thing, I priced it in the flow, but towards the top end of the flow. I'm a pro seller. I took decent pictures. I'm not trying to pull any fast one. I described them. I'll get them to you, and if I don't, I'll refund your money. So people will pay towards the top end of the flow, typically for vintage items, from sellers like that. So that's where I price it. I think the reason Kate, my daughter, she said, oh, you should have priced it higher. I think she's thinking short term on the contest. We have a a contest going where we need to list things and then get $50,000 of listings this month. So she's thinking short term, if I would have listed it for $400, that's $100 more towards the contest, right? Well, I'm on a listing blitz. A blissful listing blitz. Say that 10 times fast. I think I listed 7 items yesterday, $500, $600, $700. I got rid of a couple listings that Kate didn't want to deal with, low cost things. So I just shoot those out, and then I listed a couple decent items. I listed a drone, and I listed these mailboxes and some other things. So I have a minimum per day of 3 listings that I'm doing, but yesterday I listed 7. I'm gonna keep going. Listing is fun. That's what you gotta think. Pricing is fun when you got good items. All right, what's another kind of item that will come through my office? Well, I ran into some bowling balls lately, and I've been buying them because they're like $3. And somebody said the bowling bags sell, and lo and behold, the bowling bags, the vintage bowling bags, sell as long as they're cool looking, not all roached out. They don't smell like ass, and they got some cool advertising on there, like AMF or whatever the bowling terms are. They sell all right. Bowling balls, some of those sell all right. And so in the last couple of weeks, I ran into a vintage bowling bag. I don't know, from the 50s. It's leather. It's round and small like a bowling ball, like it's got handles on a bowling ball. It's round and small. It's leather. It looks cool. And so I paid $30 for that, plus a bowling ball. But that kind of item, there ain't a lot of them out there. Or if you're an English major, there aren't a lot of those bowling ball bags of that vintage type out there, period. I like to say 8 because I'm a picker. Ha! Okay. Kind of wound up. Must be that time of the day. It's getting up at 6 o'clock. It's been getting me fired up early. I've been getting up early lately. I'm on a tear. Woo! Watch out. So we do a little worth point on this thing. We do a little Googling. We do a little eBay search, and we find a few of these things in different colors. And they're selling anywhere from $20, $30, maybe up to $50, $60, right? Not a lot of them. Absolutely zero brown leather colored ones. We could not find any. And I don't think we did a Google image search. The longer you search, the more you find. We didn't do like a bowling museum history search. I mean, there's things we could have done, right? But I know that there's bowlers out there and bowler memorabilia collectors and bowling museums and people that do displays and people that just like to buy stuff on a whim that want this thing eventually. So when this kind of item comes through my shop, I will price it towards the top of market. And what's the top of market that you cannot find comparables on, really? Well, it's whatever you want to put on there, right? So I put $99 plus shipping, $99.99 plus shipping. Over time, I will reduce that price. If somebody contacts me and gives me a reasonable offer, I will consider it. I will not put best offer on there right away. I may down the road, but then I probably would price it back up to $99 or best offer. I have a feeling it will sell before the end of the year. Now you might say, dealer, before the end of the year, it's June. You're going to have your $30 or whatever you paid for that thing wrapped up in there till the end of the year? By the end of the year, you might sell it for $60. you might only double your money. Yeah, but if I put it at auction, I might not even get my money back. And if I put it at 40 bucks, I'm gonna break even, and somebody might buy it right away, but I don't care about those people. I'm in it for the one person that's gonna pay $99.99, or on sale it might be $87.76, or it might be reduced price in a couple of months, and it might be down to 60 bucks. Now, could I be all wet on this? You might want to throw me in a volcano. You might want to say, oh my gosh, dealer, nobody's going to pay that for a nice looking leather, vintage, decent zipper, round, about the size of the darn bowling ball with handles. Nobody's going to pay that. Well, we'll see, right? I've been wrong before, but I've been right more times than I've been wrong. So this kind of item, I will buy every single time I see it. I will buy these items, and I will sit on these items until they sell. It might take a year, but these are investment items for me, and it is a great return on your investment. If you have cash and capital, it is a great return on your investment to double your money or better. Where, oh where, can you double your money or better? Not a lot of places. Now, if it sells in 2 months, guess what happens? And some of you out there have thought about this, and some of you need to think about it more. If it sells in 2 months, and let's say it takes me another month to go find another one like this with my money, so let's say it's a 3-month cycle. Let's say in 2 months I sell my bowling bag for 80 bucks plus shipping. By the time the expenses are out of there, let's say it's 60. Let's say I paid 30. There's a $30 profit. I doubled my money, right? After 2 months I sell it. I double my money. It takes me another month to reinvest my 60 bucks or my 30 bucks, however you want to look at it. That $30 is profit, so that's another story. But let's say I just go out and buy another $30 item, right? It takes me 3 months. It takes me a month to find it. So after 3 months, I've bought and sold the bowling ball, and I bought another item. Let's go through another 3-month cycle. It might take me 2 months and a month to find it. And another 3-month cycle might take me 2 months to sell it, and a month to find another item, and another 3-month cycle. So we're at a year. Okay. Well, that 30 bucks has went to work for me 4 times, right? 4 times. That's how rate of return, that's how yearly rate of return works. 1 year, 3 months, 4 times. Bought and sold something 4 times, 4 items. Yes, I had to list it. Yes, I had to buy it. Yes, I had to store it. Yes, I had to have cheap money to make this work. But this is one kind of item that comes through my business regularly. So, now what's my rate of return on 30 bucks? Well, I made $120 in 1 year off of 30 bucks. From my calculation, that's 400% return. I'm getting a 400% return on that 30 bucks. Now, you could argue there's expenses in there. You could argue there's time in there. You could argue a lot of things. But I just shot out some numbers of some items that I buy and sell regularly that happens to me all the time. So how many thousands of dollars do I have in play like that in my inventory? Well, I'll tell you what, I have a few $1,000s of items that are like that. Maybe more, maybe $10,000 of items that are like that. Wouldn't you like to get a 400% return on thousands of dollars of items? Duh. So that's one kind of item that goes through my business. Now, We also have a lot of items that go through our business that are neither long sell meaning a couple of months, 6 months, a year. Some are longer than that, I guess. If you buy something for 10 bucks and it's a $300 long sell item, how long can you hang on to it? A long time, right? We have items in our business that are long sell. We have items in our business that are good items, but reasonably flow items. There's a good market, and we flip those. And then we have what's called bread and butter items. My best example of bread and butter items would be things like our cameras. 50% of our camera gear is bread and butter. It fits that 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, $50 item. That range of $15 to $50. It ships relatively easy. It lists relatively easy. We don't have a ton of returns on it. It's an item that people mostly want. There's a market of some kind for it. They flip over in a reasonable period of time, of days, weeks, sometimes months. A lot of our items are bread and butter items. Typically, bread and butter items, we make anywhere from double to 10 times our money. Sometimes we do worse, sometimes we do better, but that would probably be the range that we're looking for bread and butter items. Maybe the average is triple. Okay? On camera stuff, it's hard to tell exactly because we have so much of it. I have to make my price chunk points sort of like lots. So in other words, I buy that lot for $5,000. That's my buy price chunk point. What did we really sell it for? Well, I can sort of have sell chunk points, but it's a little more complicated. So some of these things that I'm giving to you are in ranges because I have to keep accurate records, but there's a certain chunking to lots of items. And if you're in the lots of items business and you do your own taxes, you do your own pricing, you do your own buying, you know what I'm talking about. You have to be very honest and you have to keep records. However, there is some chunking. And there's also some throwing out. So that's a whole nother subject. So what do we got? Items that are bread and butter. I like bread and butter items because you don't always buy the buy and hold items. They're not few and far in between, but they don't happen all the time. We probably buy anywhere from a few a week to 10 or 20 a week. You don't always find the quick flip items that are good dollars, good quality, good niche market, like the post office boxes that I bought for $100 and sold for $300 in 24 hours. We maybe run into those 1 or 2 a week, 10, 20 a week, whatever, right? You don't always find those, but bread and butter items, you can run into bread and butter items night and day, 24/7, 365 if you want to. They're everywhere. They're what fuel our business, right? That's the fuel for our business. Now, if you buy crappy bread and butter items, low margin, low dollar, high shipping, high cleanup, high repair, high return rate, difficult to pack. If you buy crappy bread and butter items, you're not going to be able to process as many of them, and therefore you're not going to make as good of a bread and butter living. We tend to try, that's kind of a weird sentence, we tend to try We attempt to buy good bread and butter items, and we have crappy ones just like everybody else, and hopefully most of them fall in the middle, and then we get a bunch of good ones. So our bread and butter is pretty good. I would eat it all day long if I could. But you got to stay on it. That's a whole different talk. Buying good bread and butter items, right? Okay, what's the fourth? I said there were 3 or 4 things that we buy and sell and price. How do I price bread and butter items? Well, I try to price them so they'll sell. I still price them, buy it now, and over time I reduce the pricing, and I try to move them out. Am I in a panic to move them out? Do I put them at auction? No. Do I price them out of sight so nobody ever buys them? No. Do I take offers when somebody makes offers on bread and butter items? Sure. Sometimes. Do I send them global shipping? Sure, if the market allows it. And by market allows it, I mean some things can't ship to certain countries. Some things, like new electronics, I don't like to send to certain countries. Whole nother topic. So, I'm going to talk in a minute how I determine pricing on things, and that'll be the ending point of this video. But I'm trying to describe to you the different categories and how I price them, what my thought process is, right? We buy a lot of things in lots. We don't sell a lot of things in lots, although we do sell and price to move lower cost items that we have a bunch of. We sell in lots, or if the market supports it. If there's a market out there of people buying in lots, I'll sell things all the time in lots if I'm going to get good money out of it. There's not lots for everything that you'll get good money out of. You can sell everything in lots, but there's sort of a rule that I go on. I guess it would be two reasons. One, if it's a low cost item and I don't want to sell it individually and I just want to get it out of my office, I don't care if other people are selling them at lots. I'm going to sell it at a lot, and I'm going to competitively price it, and I'm going to take an offer on it, and I'm going to cut that price down every 15 or 30 days. That's the move it out lot. Typically for us, these will be things like lens caps, lens hoods, camera straps, all kinds of things that selling individually is too much hassle, especially if they're just the bread and butter ones of those type of items that we accumulate like crazy. I'll sell 150 lens caps for $60 all day long, rather than list them individually for $6 each. So there's that kind, and I will price those aggressively, and there's not a lot of lots out there. There's no track record of people selling in lots. Maybe small lots, maybe some lots, but there's not a big track record. The other kind of lot that I will sell in is lots of things where there's a track record. There's a track record of people selling these items often in lots. Typically you can get good money for items like this, like these mailbox fronts that I just sold 21 of them in a lot. The 21 of them was a fairly large lot of those, a fairly large lot. And so the people that bought that, here we go again, Super Cruise, woo, go! Got a 6-speed on this 350, and it likes to boogie. When I come out of the road construction and put it back on resume cruise, this thing likes to kick down and boogie. Wheeler wants to put a Corvette motor in here, 350. I tell him don't do that, just get the Corvette. Okay, so lots that have a track record, lots of things where people are listing lots, selling lots, there's good money in it, you'll get most of your money out. You want to do that. That's another item that I'll price. I typically will price those towards the top of the market. That doesn't mean that there's not a market and I'm pricing it to hold it. It means if they're selling for 200 all day long, a lot of items, I'm going to price it right there at 200. I'm not going to price it at 140. I'm not going to price it at $99. I'm not going to run it at auction. I'm going to price it at $200 plus shipping, right at the top of the market, right? I'm going to look at the market too. I'm going to study it. All right. So what else do I sell in my business? Well, once in a while, I get a winner. Winner chicken dinner. Super duper winner. Hottest thing. You find one a month. You find one a year. It's like a lottery ticket. It's not like the big lottery ticket, but it's like a $1,000 winner. When you get a winner chicken dinner, and you're gonna make great money on it, and it's the cat's meow, and people are gonna fight over it, I tend to price those things to get it to the right person. And by get it to the right person, if I can get a track record at all, if I can see this thing at all, if I determine that this is a winner chicken dinner, I'm gonna price it up there. And typically those things sell within the month. It's going to take some time for that person to find it, but they're out there and they'll find it. I'll give you an example. This Mako 300 amplifier that I just shipped to Bermuda, which, by the way, I put it in a plastic case, yes, but not a brittle plastic case. And so that plastic case, hopefully it won't get dropped, but it can handle a drop. It's got a little more rubber in it than some of the hard cheapo plastic cases. There are cheapo plastic cases out there, and there are better plastic cases out there, and this one tends to be towards the better end. And so I think it'll be fine. I had a comment that somebody said, don't ever do that. And I agree that plastic will break, and certainly if it's brittle, or if it's old, or if it's the wrong type of plastic, this is a good type of plastic. I think it's better. So that's just my opinion. I had some other good questions come through, by the way. If you're still watching this video, you're one of my regulars for my long-winded serenades. I had some other good questions, and I will be doing a question thing with Wheeler sometime, and we're going to have a good one of those maybe pretty soon. We'll have to announce it. We got a busy month with the contest and trying to deplete the storage unit out of state and all those kind of things. Okay, so you got the chicken dinner item, like the Mako 300. We price that, even though they only come along every few years. We price that right up there, and lo and behold, within the month, the right person came along and bought that thing. Of course, they lived in Bermuda, right smack dab in the Bermuda Triangle. We'll hopefully get it to them, right? Now, the good news is it's global shipping, and I haven't had a single problem with global shipping. Once things go into global shipping, they are insured, they get lost, the person doesn't like it, whatever, that's a good deal. Typically with global shipping, these are responsible people buying the stuff. They are the higher end buyers. And so chicken dinner, yo chicken dinner, got my chicken dinner. That was a good one. That was a $10 to $500. We get those quite often. My AMC dealership sign, American Motors dealership sign, I bought that for $100 and priced it at $1,000. That's another, hello Dolly, chicken dinner. Will somebody pay $1,000? I don't think so. But the right person's going to come along and offer me $700, and I'm going to take it. Or I'll put best offer after 30 days, and we'll see what happens. It's already got watchers. Could be one of you out there. It could be the person. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I've given you an example of some of the items that we buy and sell. Here's what I do for pricing. I will look up a track record on eBay. If you put in reasonably general search terms, you'll get up 50, 100, 200, 5,000 items. Then what you should do is you should whittle down the search terms to get closer to your item or lots of your item. By lots, I mean 3, 4, 10, 20 of your item in a lot. When you get it narrowed down to where you feel comfortable scrolling through the items, you should rank them from higher to lower. You should get a feel for what they're selling. There's going to be new ones, there's going to be used ones, there's going to be refurbished ones, there's going to be parts or repair items. You need to get a grasp on where yours fits in to that schedule. Then you need to go down on the left side and click sold, and you need to see how many items in your category sold. For example, if you have 100 that are listed under the listed end of it, and you go to sold and you have 100 sold, that's good flow. If you go and you have 100 listed and you go to sold, these are items that have actually sold in the last 30 days or 60 days or whatever eBay lists. If you have 100 listed but you go to sold and you have 10 sold, that's a heck of a lot slower sell market. You may need to price accordingly. You may need to be one of the lowest prices in order to win that market. If it's 100 listed and 100 sold, you just need to be in the flow. If it's 100 listed and 0 sold, I'm sorry to tell you, for most part, you have a loser and you need to donate it or rummage sale it or throw it out. If you have an item where 100 are listed and you go and there's 500 or 1,000 or 8,000 sold, you got a winner, and you need to price to the top of that market or even higher if you've got something special. But the top of the market means if you're new, you need to price to the top of whatever's listed new. If you're used, you need to price to the top of that market. If you're refurbished or if your parts are not working, price to the top of that market. If you've got one that flows, oh man, the bugs are hitting my windshield. Ha! Now, that would be items that I would be pricing that eBay has a good track record. These would be bread and butter items. These would be niche items with a quick turnaround that have a track record, both buyers and sellers. These would not be the way that I price unique items, chicken dinner items, items that I'm buying and holding and waiting for the right buyer, high-end items, items that have different variations. Sometimes an item has 100 of them listed, but you have the special one. Well, if you price it with the 100 and somebody comes along and says, whoa, that's the special one, they're gonna buy it and you might not even know it. But if you look closely and you have the special X version and there's 100 listed but no X version, and you go on completed listings or sold listings and you find one X one that went at auction for double, you may go, there's a specialty thing here. And then you might use Terapeak, or you might use WorthPoint, or you might use Google or Google Images, where you can go back and get older data you might realize you got something special there. So if I realize I have something special, I don't price it to move like something that should be bread and butter or quick move or whatever. I spend some time looking it up. I spend some time determining that this fits one of my buy and hold categories or my chicken dinner categories or my higher end categories. I need to put a little more time into pricing, and so I use Google or Google Images, and lately we just bought WorthPoint again, and I've had it several times throughout the last 10 years, and Kate uses WorthPoint a lot, and she likes to do the research, and I buy a lot of oddball stuff that's hard to find on just eBay, and so we do some price comparisons, and a lot of people have a lot of different opinions, and I do too, but the bottom line is you need to find some comparables. You need to find, you need to understand and find and determine if this item is a bread and butter item with a track record, or a quicker flipper item with a track record, or is it a chicken dinner, or is it a buy and hold for a week or a month or 2 months or 6 months? What kind, an investment item, a unique item, or is it a high-end item, one that you want to get some money out of? Now occasionally I'll buy an item for $100 and it'll price out and sell after expenses for about $100. And so on those items, sometimes I get emotionally attached, and I'll price it for $120, and I'll wait, and I'll wait, and I'll wait, and I'll wait, and then I get my money back, right? And I feel good. So you might have some items like that too. So that's how I'm pricing items. I'm doing the research, and I'm pricing them, not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily depend on how I bought them or what I paid for them. It's more like, where do they fit in my categories, and where they fit in my categories typically determines how much research and what type of pricing I'm going to do on those. So that's really basically it. And I think you have questions after watching all of this, and I think you should get your questions answered. So if you have questions about pricing and you want to have an example, you want to write a paragraph, you want to write a short question, you want to write a book, you want to write multiple questions, all those things are good. I will answer them, but I'll probably answer them in a question and answer show down the road. So ask them, and then tune in for our question and answer show with Wheeler, and maybe even Banana Peeler if we can get them along. Maybe even Kate if we can get her along. But if you have comments, you can leave those as well. I like those as well. Now, I have answered questions on the forum before, but the weird thing about it is I don't have the time to answer all your questions other than like a 3-hour question show. I also have tried to answer some questions, some of these ones that come up that would be easy to answer, and then I'd like to just shoot an answer out there, but I think I'm barred from answering questions on my own channel, at least from my computer. For whatever reason, I try to answer the questions, and then I answer them, and I go back, and they aren't there. So I don't know, and unfortunately, I don't care. And it's not that I don't care about your questions. It's just I've given up. So I will answer your questions. You'll have to tune into the 3-hour show, and we'll probably have one here pretty soon. I'll announce it. So comments, questions, do put them down below. How about a thumbs up? I would like this video to get 10,000 likes. The reason I'm laughing is because it probably won't get 10,000 views. But, I think this is a pretty decent video. I feel like I'm ranting and raving, but this is a good kind of video that people should watch when they're listing, or however you want to watch it. Maybe you're just watching and listening when you're traveling. Maybe you've got some waiting time somewhere. These kind of videos I think are pretty good. I try to do a brain drain, you know, brain drain. And it actually helps me sharpen my saw. And so if there's other people out there that have information to share, and there are plenty of good videos out there, there's plenty of information, there's plenty of people that have knowledge. If you like to share things like this, and you think, wow, I'm making $1.50 on this video, or maybe nothing, if you're not either monetized, or you're starting your channel new, or you know, whatever, you know, you're not even making the $1.50. There's a certain sharpening of the saw that I get when I make these videos, and I think that's priceless. So dealer's okay, even though he's only getting his $1.50, right? At one time I thought, well, maybe I'll put a P.O. box down and people could send me a 6-pack of their local favorite brewery beer, and maybe that would be good payment. Should I do that? Give me a comment on that if you think you would send me a 6-pack of your favorite beer just to keep making videos. I might drink free. That would be cool. Now, my state, you can't sell it. You can send alcohol. I don't know if you can send it free. So before you would ever do that, and I don't have my address out, the disclaimer is, don't do anything nobody would like. I didn't tell you to do it. I just like drinking free beer. So there's a gray area there, right? Soliciting free beer? No, I'm not asking for free beer. I just like it. Thanks for watching. I'm nearing my destination. Traffic is lighter. Give me a thumbs up, comment, question, subscribe. Pick well, list often. The drama continues. Dealer out.
Hey, Wheeler.
Dealer production.